First, though, do we have a duty to get a flu jab? Get your calls in now. Hospitals have been hit by a wave of super flu called H3N2. This is a mutation we haven't seen in recent years, so we haven't apparently built up enough of our own immunity. NHS England says there are enough flu patients to fill more than 3 whole hospital trusts. At England's busiest A&E in Leicester, beds are full by midday. Cases are rising in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland too, although not as rapidly. So let's just go to our big wall over here. And obviously we're talking here about, someone is walking down the street, nice crowd of people, and she's realised she's got the symptoms. And she's starting to sneeze and sniffle, and she's probably, she doesn't feel good, and she's sweating here, and the cheeks are getting a bit flushed. And at this point, by the way, she's aches and pains, she's still out and about, she's spreading it. 2,600 cases of flu a day in hospital. This is England. Admissions, 50% up just in the last week. And then also those aged 5 to 14 most likely to have flu. Now at this point you may be thinking, hang on a second, but there is a but here, because although the cases 5 to 14 figure in the most numbers, although the kids and the young are more likely to have it, the old people are the ones who are most likely to end up in hospital. That's the key thing. So yes, a younger version of her would be more likely to have it, but it's the older version of her, or it's her dad or whatever, who ends up in hospital. So I'll show you the graph. This is us here. This is the red line. The reason they say, we are ahead of last year is because this graph is going up earlier. This time last year it was down there, okay? However, we're still below 3,000 cases a day in England. Peak last year and the year before was well above 5,000, okay? So the question is whether actually what's happened here is we've just been hit earlier, essentially, and we're going to have the peak earlier, and then it'll come down earlier, because we have to hope to God that's the case. Otherwise, we're in for the full roller coaster here. Absolutely.
Well, the thing is, we always look to the other side of the world, to Australia and South Africa, because their winter happens in our summer. So we see what happens with their flu season there. And it has been just horrendous there. So, the 7.5, nearly 8,000 people died from flu last winter. And that wasn't regarded as a bad flu winter. So people do need to take care. And it's the children are vulnerable. I mean, children die from it too.
Do they?
Yes, they do. There were 53 children died last year from flu.
But how many of those children had?
I wonder.
We don't.
I've never heard of that.
Have you ever had flu?
I don't know, actually.
I've had it twice. You haven't.
You would know if you had it.
You were out for more than a week. That's the key thing about flu. On day 5, you think, right, I'm going to be back in the races tomorrow. Day 9, you're still flat on your back.
I've had pneumonia.
Have you? Okay.
That's a different thing. When you've got flu, you're lying in bed, and you think, I must have a sip of water, and you cannot turn your head to get the water. If there was a £50 note on the floor, you couldn't go to pick it up.
I always look, if I get flu, we're going to try that £50 note thing, because I don't believe it. Because I think most of us would manage to get.
No, you couldn't. I
couldn't get a £50 note.
I had flu about 7 or 8 years ago, and we happened to be in a hotel in Spain. Oof. And on Christmas Day, my other half woke up with this flu, and I was fine.
You both had it? Okay.
And then 2 days later, I got it. So we had to keep ringing down and saying, can we stay another day? Can we stay another day? Can we stay another? It was horrendous. Oh. I lost half a stone. So ultimately, I was thrilled.
You do,
but over Christmas, that just wiped it out.
You just look beautiful.
Okay, so other part of this, of course, the doctors they are, as far as we know, going to strike. And that's due to start next Wednesday, but they're now thinking, should we? So they can decide as late as Monday. Well, let's not get, if you're waiting for an operation, can't wait till Monday to find out.
Selfish people.
Well,
they've just had a pay rise and now they're striking again.
30%, yeah.
Selfish people.
The government has put forward an improved offer, which includes prioritising British doctors for NHS jobs. That's Wes Streeting doing that. Keir Starmer said the British Medical Association's got to accept the offer.
Particularly in the run-up to Christmas, particularly when we've got a problem with flu, it would be irresponsible of BMA to push through. And I think for many resident doctors, I think in their heart of hearts, they probably don't want to do this.
I've got a very slight suspicion here, right, which is just that when you look, I wonder if I can get my graph up here. When you look at the graph I showed you earlier, and you look at that, the fact that where we are now, let's just have a look here. I'm going to show you this. So we are here. It's not, it's not drastically different from last year or the year before. And I just have a little question about whether the government is putting its foot on the alarm button here, the alarm pedal, for two reasons. Number one reason being they want the doctors to feel the heat here. Because what they want is for people to say, how can you be striking when we're in the middle of the worst flu crisis ever? And secondly, we, as I mentioned, we are in the earlier bit of the curve. We may not peak as high, etc.
They striked again over the summer. I mean, this is fundamentally the problem, that these people have such a sort of high regard for themselves. They think it's okay to strike last year, get a 30% pay rise, and then subsequently 6 months later strike again.
Nina, you were in favour of giving them the pay rise, weren't you?
If a screaming toddler has a tantrum.
I was in favour of giving them the pay rise, and they deserved it. But the trouble is the conditions they're working in are dreadful. And young doctors are we're spending all this money on training them up, and then they're leaving.
But they
the
have
country.
joined knowing all that. They've joined knowing the conditions.
I agree, and I think the problem is that now that they've lost the support of the country. Most people, the majority of people would support doctors and support the NHS, but now they are pushing it too far, and I think it's because the BMA has gone just
radical,
well,
communist.
They're probably, I don't want to say communist.
They are.
Doctors
vote. The part of the BMA, they are literal communists. I mean,
are they? Okay. All right.
That,
interesting. Lively.
That's not such a scary.
Right.
You sound like American, like communists.
Let's talk to Dorothy in Peterborough. Dorothy, back on flu. What do you think we need to do here? Because we're starting to think, hang on a minute, this is knocking everyone.
I think that everybody should be able to have a jab, a flu jab. Like I think everybody should be able to have a COVID jab. I've got asthma and bronchiectasis. I couldn't have a COVID jab. They're only giving it to people with immune system and cancer people. And I think it's the same with flu jabs. All the migrants get all this money spent on them, put in hotels, they get everything. And our country and our people don't. My son works on scanners in hospital, installs them and looks after them. He had to pay for his own flu jab.
I think you get it for free if you're over 65.
But do you get it for free if you come on a small boat? That's the question. I mean,
I don't know, but if you're over 65, you do get a free flu jab.
But Dorothy, I think it's probably not an issue around migrants. But do you think they should give everyone who needs or wants a flu jab, or should it be everyone's duty to get a flu jab?
Well, you can't force people to get a flu jab. You can't force them, but people should be getting flu jabs because it is getting really bad. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with the doctors striking. I think they're selfish and they have no empathy with people. They should be doing it another month, not Christmas time. They're not nice people, to be quite honest.
OK, Dorothy, thanks so much. After the break, we're taking more of your calls on whether we should all get a flu jab. Medical leaders say the peak of the outbreak is not yet in sight. 020 7862 2222 is the number you need. See you shortly. Before the break, we asked Hinckley in Leicestershire is home to what? Is it the most bashed bridge, the tallest lamppost, or the longest pedestrian crossing? It is the most bashed bridge. We got because of course these bridges were built before they had people racing around in vans. Let's have a look at the bridge. I mean, how can you miss that? And it's not that low either. Well, how has that happened? Oh gosh.
Oh dear. Well, yes.
That's the definition of optimism, isn't it? And I like the fact he's tried to go through sideways. Later we'll be asking if we should stop using live reindeer at Christmas markets. Would it be the same without Rudolph? Because they work too hard? I don't know. It's an animal welfare story. Now, your calls on whether we should all get a flu jab. The Lib Dems are calling for a vaccine scheme to be rolled out in churches and pubs to tackle what they call the flu emergency. Let's just check if you had a flu jab.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have too. Did you?
I have not.
But because you're young, you don't have to worry about it. Well, you'll get it. You're 25.
23.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
I
You're
also,
not at risk from death.
No, but also, you make decisions to protect yourself and protect your family. For example, this morning I wasn't feeling too good, so I didn't shake Nina's hand. You know, there are certain things that you do.
Now you tell us.
Sort of make to make different decisions.
Would
to
it be
protect people.
what if? Because obviously it's quite a big experience. If you got the flu, what would happen if you had the flu for a week or so and you woke up and you became really left wing? Because that could be really tragic.
That would be really bad.
You've got to have a vaccine.
Don't happen, but maybe at Christmas.
Cal is in County Tyrone. Hello, Cal.
Hello, Jeremy and panel.
Hello.
Do you think it's our duty to get a jab?
I think you're vulnerable until you're 10 years of age. And then after that, you should have an immune system built up so much that you should never have to have any jabs at all. I'd never got my booster jabs or my six packs or nothing at all.
So you would not. So you would even not go smallpox and stuff like that.
No, small, nothing at all.
You wouldn't. No, but I mean, you wouldn't have a smallpox jab.
I think the reason why people need jabbed up is because they're eating too much food, and they should go on a fast maybe for a day or two.
Is it, so I'm only questioning, Cal, respectfully here, because there are some diseases you do not want to have a brush with, and the best example I can think of is smallpox, where it's horrific. Or polio, you wouldn't want to be jabbed against them.
No, I believe that our immune system should be built up so much.
Yeah. What about leprosy? If that was back, would you?
My God! Don't bring that back, please.
No, well, yeah, but our immune system didn't deal. I think we had leper colonies where everyone's arms dropped off.
But smallpox. I mean, for heaven's sake.
Cal's back in the. Cal, you want to take your chances, right?
Back in the day, we used to have no vaccines, and we had higher.
I think I would take my chances.
You
take your chances.
Cal, back in the day, talking 100, 200 years ago, before we had proper vaccines, right? We had higher child mortality rates. The idea that you would give birth and have a child that would survive was actually something you have sort of 50-50 chance with. And now we've got vaccines, we've got different medical advancements that can protect us. Why wouldn't you embrace that?
Because our immune system was built for us ourselves, and I believe that if you can go on a fast for maybe 1 day to maybe 72 hours or up to 3 days, then our immune system is able to fight that off because whenever you sleep, your body is healing.
Why didn't it work for the people in the 19th century that all died?
Because maybe they didn't fast enough. I feel I can survive for 3 days without food, just drink water.
Whether he would actually pass on the polio, whether he would say no to a polio vaccine, he would be off his rocker.
I don't understand the resistance to taking a flu jab, because the only side effects you get from a flu jab are...
but hang on a sec. Cal's thing, he's against all vaccines.
Yeah.
I can see he might say that the flu jab is discretionary, because you're probably not going to die from it. So let's take your chances. Or even the COVID jab. Let's crack on. Where you can't we can't let smallpox back. No. It was horrific.
Or measles.
To be fair, I don't believe that anybody should ever be forced to take anything. The government mandating any kind of vaccine, I think, would be completely abhorrent and dictatorial. People should be allowed to do what they want with their bodies. It's your body. You make that choice.
However, you have a social responsibility.
However, I think that we can have a conversation about what social duty may look like and how you protect your family and your loved ones. And I just think when it comes to the measles and smallpox, you have these vaccines as a child for a reason. And as I said earlier, infant mortality rates have completely plummeted because we have fantastic vaccines and medical advancements. That's why children don't die anymore. We used to have children die all of the time.
But you say look after your family and your loved ones. It goes beyond that, surely, because we come into contact with so many more people than our family. We're not living, in the Middle Ages where you didn't actually see people, unless
But I think I think people have distrust because of what happened during COVID, where the government said we're going to have COVID vaccines and we're going to have passports where you have certain rights if you take the vaccine.
In
and you don't have
Canada,
other
they say
rights.
that you can't drive your truck unless you're vaccinated.
Yeah, I think that's disgusting.
Well, it's true. I mean, there's certainly a debate there.
But this has driven people like Cal to completely say no vaccines at all.
Yeah. It's a weird. There we are. We've got a live one there.
And again, stirred up by social media.
Thank you, Cal, and thank you for swearing at the end, for which, again, apologies. We don't like it at breakfast time. If you're having you could be having a late breakfast. Yvonne in Derbyshire, hello.
Good morning.
Sorry, now you've got to pick up after Cal, who's not having any vaccines for anything because he's going to try fasting instead and eating less fruit.
Oh, my Cal.
I know.
You don't know other people's reality.
I know.
You do not know. For a start, there are millions of people who are diabetic. That would be totally inadvisable to do. Yes. Totally. Right.
Would you mean you mean it would be inadvisable not to take insulin for diabetes?
It would be
to fast. I'm sorry, Yvonne. I'm with you. So sorry. Yeah.
To fast without guidance.
Yeah. Yvonne, to the point, because COVID has Cal has derailed us on almost everything here. Is it our duty to get a jab?
Right.
Just quickly, do me a sentence and I'll come back to you because I'm going to take our break. Go on.
Tens of thousands of people and children cannot have live vaccines. Fact.
Okay, brilliant. Stay there. We'll have the second half of Yvonne's sentence. And then, because I don't think the flu vaccine is a live vaccine.
Not a live vaccine.
What's going on today? Then should we all give rough sleepers free accommodation? The government has done it before. 0207 862 2222. I love it when someone says something and there's this fact at the end. That makes it truer. See you in a mo. Stay there, Yvonne. Before the break, we asked, what did the boy in Somerset sell to pay for university? Was it upcycled electronics, homemade pastries, or Christmas trees? Do you know what? This lad sold Christmas trees. I want to find out the details of this thing. Let's just have a look here. So, lovely lad, Ryan Brooke, made headlines, schoolboy, Christmas tree entrepreneur, started selling saplings and had 1,500 trees growing on his family's land. And he then decided to become an electrician. Welcome.
Well, at least you could do the fairy lights.
Yeah, well, he can strap them all together, yeah. Now, Yvonne was on the line. Yvonne, hello.
Hello, John.
You were brilliant because I said you've only got 10 seconds, and then you spoke for 6 seconds. But you said we shouldn't have live vaccines. Obviously,
I did not.
Oh, I see, sorry.
No, I did not. Please, Jeremy, do not turn it. There are millions of people who have chronic illnesses or are receiving medical treatments. Children, babies, those with chronic long-term COVID that cannot take live vaccines. So those that can, I ask to please do take, because you are putting other people's lives at risk.
The implication that the flu vaccine is live was what I was just quibbling with. It's not. The nasal spray has a little bit of live in it, actually. You know that?
Yeah.
The one they give the kids? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good point.
Hold on. Jeremy,
Yeah.
people are allergic to the plastic within the machines of the vaccines.
Yeah. I thank you. Today's show. Thank you, Yvonne. Richard in North Yorkshire. Now, what's going to happen? We're going to swear or we're going to have plastic? Hi, Richard.
Oh, it's basically a question about the vaccine.
Yes, of course. You can help with that. Yeah.
Yep, I gather that at the start of the year, they select about 3 or 4 different vaccines
Yes.
to inoculate against. And the question is the flu strain that's come along outside that selection?
Well, I can help. Believe it or not, I can answer that. So, yes, they look at what's raging elsewhere in the world. They base the vaccine on that. This one is described as a mutation. However, the vaccine is effective to a point. So it's somewhere between very effective and ineffective. So it will give you a little bit of an extra yard on it, Richard. Have you taken it yourself?
Yeah, I have, yes.
Okay. I think, well, I was going to say something silly. I do think part of it is a little bit of a psychological thing. Feeling protected does help a bit, doesn't it?
It does.
It doesn't stop you catching it. It just makes you go about your life with a bit more confidence.
Well, it does help, and I think it's about 70% effective. The one, when I got flu 7 or 8 years ago, they'd done the vaccine, and then the thing mutated really far from. So that only like 3% of people were protected, and that's why I got it, even though I'd had the.
And also, I think even with the vaccine, if it's matched to the virus, you may still have a 50% leak.
And you could still get the symptoms. So with the COVID vaccine, it wasn't the case that that you were completely protected. You wouldn't even catch it. It was the case that you may catch it, but the symptoms will be much less severe, and you would be able to get through it.
In the end, the COVID vaccine was mainly about not ending up on a ventilator.
Yeah, that was it.
And people didn't quite get that.
Can we just
get it. Yes, please,
mention the fact that the NHS every single year is in perpetual crisis? Like, this isn't normal. There is something going wrong with the National Health Service as a whole, and it isn't that it doesn't have enough money, because, my God, we know we are spending more money on the NHS than we ever have before.
Well, it's become a massive care home. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Hasn't it? And I feel so sad for people who've got to the end of their life. They thought the state would look after them. Yeah. They go into hospital with an illness, and then there's nowhere for them to go.
Exactly. So where the problem starts is with the GPs, because you can't get an appointment, so then you have to go to A&E. And then when you're in hospital, you can't leave hospital because there's no social care to look after you when you come out. So the whole thing is just fragmented and not joined up. But it needs to start with the GPs.
Yeah, I was going to say it needs to start with social care. How interesting. That's a different discussion. Kim in Surrey, we're just asking, is it our duty to get a jab?
I think so. I think it should be freely available to everybody. I don't think you should discriminate between what age group qualifies, what this, what that. It should either be free or a nominal fee. It's not a live vaccine. It mutates every year. We get a shot just so that it gives us some coverage. I think it behooves us all to get one. And I don't understand. I'm kind of on the same vein as the lady next to you. That what's the problem? What's the problem getting it?
Well, let me think.
Some people don't want to take a vaccine. I think that's their right.
Yes, that's their right.
Well, yes, it is their right. But I didn't. When I was a kid, they gave us all a sugar cube, which was the polio thing. Yep. There is not a single person in the whole of our postcode will say, I'm not having one of those because I read something. That's not what happened. Now, you may say that's terrible. We weren't very well informed. We actually weren't very well misinformed. We didn't have misinformation then.
No, exactly. And I honestly think, Kim, I don't see the problem with it, because, as I say, there aren't side effects.
No, well, no.
Yeah, but there are some people that can't take the flu jab for various reasons.
Well, that is, but not fear of needles. You're not talking about something
there could
silly
be
like that.
It could be that. But there are people that medically can't take it.
Okay.
But this is my problem. My problem with
allergic to eggs or something.
Well, yeah, there are specific reasons somebody with medical issues may need to. But my problem really with this is, yes, we can have a conversation about duty, but it cannot be mandatory.
All right, no, we hear you on that. Thank you. And of course it's not. I mean, there's no one is being held down anywhere. Thank you, Kim. Let's move on.